Hi everyone, this is Eric from Illuminated Sheeple Productions. I was asked if I can, by a friend, if I can show her how to make some fresh Asian spring rolls. You can call them Thai, you can just call them Asian, Chinese, whatever, it doesn't make a difference in a sense because I'm not really following a specific recipe that would categorize either or. So I'm basically here just to make the spring roll happen. That's what she kind of wants to know. Everything else is on your own. I'm making just my own creative. I don't even have a recipe. I'm just kind of winging it right now. Just a mostly cooked mixture to fill the rice paper with, and then make it into a roll. So with that being said, if this isn't going to be like your typical spring roll that you'll find at like a Thai place or a Chinese restaurant or any Asian background. It's just something I'm creating, but I'll show you the ingredients I'm going to use. I'm going to use mine with noodles. So these are Chinese Yang noodles. I broke them in half so they'll be smaller. I have a diced red pepper, bell. We have your shredded cabbage. We have some carrots chopped into sticks, little small sticks. Now, for best results, I would use a shredder to shred the carrots and the cabbage, make the mixture better and a little easier to eat. But I'm just making this real quick. I don't feel like bringing all that just to make. I'm only making like 3 or 4 spring rolls, so I don't feel like going all out just to. And no one's here with me, so I'm not trying to impress anyone. So it might be a little bit tougher to eat than normal. And then my fresh ingredients that I'm going to use is I have cucumbers, which I'm going to actually dice those up a little bit while we're cooking, and then I also have green onions. So those are the fresh produce of the ingredients. So what you're going to do is, this is your rice paper that we're going to be using it, so I'll be showing you how to be able to wrap these, how to get them in a nice form. I might have to retake the video a few times because I'm not an expert, because I usually mess the first one up, so I'm probably going to make the first one and then record the second one. So that's what we're going to roll them in. I already told you about the noodles. We have, for the cooking mixture, I'm going to use the soy sauce, sea salt, garlic powder. Now, most people think of fresh spring rolls having basil wrapped in them, or mint, or cilantro. I don't have any of that at the store. Again, I'm just making this just to show you how to do it. The best thing about spring rolls is you can be as creative as you want, and even if it doesn't come out very well, and it didn't cost too much money. I mean, they're very cheaply and easy to make. So be creative, and you might find that spring roll recipe that you just created so phenomenal that you have your friends over and you can impress them. I'm also using a Chinese 5-star recipe, or 5-spice seasoning, and this basically has like cinnamon, star of anise, coriander seed, anise seed, and chung chia, which I have no idea what that is, but I use this sometimes. I like it. You can find it in stuff like this at the Asian markets. The rice paper you can find in Asian markets. Same with the noodles. You can usually, like, any noodle will do, so if you can't find the Yang noodles, you can find any kind of flat or thin noodles, rice noodles, mung bean noodles, whatever you find is what you find. It's good either way. You can even use spaghetti or angel hair. Noodles are noodles once they're cooked, in my opinion, and mixed in together. In general, you're not going to notice much of a difference. One thing I wish I did have was bean sprouts right now. I love putting those in spring rolls, but again, you can find most of this stuff in the regular grocery store. But definitely in the Asian markets. You can find them online as well, I'm sure, like Amazon and things like that. So anyway, So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook the noodles based off the directions of the package. I'm going to cook the cabbage, I'm going to cook the carrots. I'm especially cooking the carrots because I don't feel like using my shredder, so they're pretty thick right now, so cooking them down will make them easier to eat than if they were raw. Now you can do these raw too, that's up to you. I'm just doing a cooked version. And of course I'm going to cook the bell peppers. I want to make everything nice and soft. And then I'm going to cook the veggies with the noodles because it takes about the same amount of time to boil up and get all soft. So I will come back with part 2. So I'm just going to cook it. I mean, I'm just throwing this all in one pot of water and straining it, so you don't need to see that. Okay? On to part 2. Okay, this is part 2. This is very short. So basically I threw all the fresh veggies besides the cucumbers and green onion into a pot. I started the water, I started it from cold water. Like I put the vegetables in the pot, filled it with water, and then started putting it on the burner to cook up because my noodles only takes about 5 minutes to cook, so I'm giving it an extra. It gives it a little bit extra cooking time with the veggies. So once again, this is all basically you want to be able to boil the vegetables between like 7 to 10 minutes. So depending on what noodles you use, like for instance, if you're using spaghetti or angel hair, it's about 8 to 10 minutes to do. So you could just throw it right in there, and once it starts boiling. But once this water starts boiling, I am going to pop the noodles in. So that's pretty much all you have to do for part 2. So I'm not going to have you keep watching me as I'm waiting for it to boil. So alright. Alright, so now that we've cooked the vegetables, basically what I did is I threw it in a strainer. Pasta and the vegetables is in the strainer now, and I'm running cold water on it to make it nice and cold. So your noodles should be soft by now. No. The softer they are, the better they work. So I didn't check, but I didn't make sure. But for some reason, if you check it off too early, just again, just fill it back up with water again, and do the same thing over again for a couple more minutes. It should be soft by then. But anyway, all right. So as you can see, it's strained. So I threw it back into. Once the pot cooled down and the veggies and the pasta cooled down, I threw it back into the pot. And this is where I'm going to season it. So I'll start with the soy sauce. This will get it nice and wet. I always like to start with the liquid first because it seems to soak up the spices easier. So I don't know, I put maybe about a tablespoon of it in. You don't want to put too much because you don't want it to be super soaked. So now remember, soy sauce is salty, but I like my food extra salty, but I don't want that too much soy sauce taste. So I add a little more sea salt. Again, you don't want to add too much because the soy sauce is salty. And here's my 5-spice Asian thing. You don't want to put a lot in it because the spices in here is very powerful. Again, all this stuff is optional. I'm just showing you my idea. So here, I love garlic. This is one most people skip with spring rolls if you're making a mixture like this. So I'll put a little bit. I like a little extra garlic. So there's that. Now, 2 things I have for later. So I have sriracha sauce, optional, and I have cilantro leaves. I'm using cilantro leaves in place of the fresh basil or mint leaf, or the cilantro leaves that you can use to wrap these. And there's plenty of other random leaves you can use from like Asian markets and stuff, but there's so many different kinds and usually never labeled. You would have to ask somebody what would go well with spring rolls, or just do a little research and find it on your own. Sometimes I use just sprinkled basil or Italian seasoning to get that creation, but like I said, I didn't have fresh basil. That's what I would have chose to go for. I also like to use watercress a lot too. gives you a lot of it's a superfood, a lot of oxidants and stuff like that, vitamins, minerals. It's packed with that stuff. It goes really well with the spring rolls. Denise, if you're watching that, that was what I used when you were in town. So, and then, so after that, I just mix it in. And then sometimes I add turmeric, like chili powder, or smoked paprika, or sometimes I use this ground tomato. This goes well with a lot of stuff, believe it or not. So I put that in a lot of my food. And I think I'm going to add a little more soy sauce. I wanted it a little bit extra. But yeah, definitely start off adding soy sauce a little bit at a time. You don't want it to be overpowering. You want it to look kind of like just a tiny bit. I don't know if you can see it in the, probably can't see it in the video because of the light, but you want your noodles to turn just slightly brown enough where you know you can tell it's soy sauce on it, but you don't want it drowning in it. So, okay, so that's done. I will move on to part 3. Well, actually, part 4, whatever. But I'm moving on. This is where the difficult part is actually making the spring roll. This is where a lot of people screw up. I still screw up doing it. I'm not a master at it, but I'll make sure I'll give you the one that I don't mess up on. So I usually mess up on the first one, like I said earlier, and so this when I'll record the second one, and I'll try to do a third one. So yeah, all right, I will be back. Okay, so here comes the difficult part, wrapping the actual spring roll with the rice paper. So what I got is this, this is a black plastic serving pan that I got in the past from a grocery store. That's probably a vegetable tray or something, but I kept it for some odd reason, and it turns out it works beautiful with rice paper because, as you can see, rice paper is about a little, same shape obviously, just a little bit smaller than it, so you have enough room to move your hands in there. Make sure that this is warm water that you fill this up with. A little bit, I would say, right before it starts steaming. It's perfect level, but you don't want to make it too hot. But cold water doesn't makes the paper come out weird. If you don't have a plastic serving tray, you can use like a pizza pan, like a tin pizza pan. That works pretty good. Also, if you have a really large like skillet or something, as long as the rice paper can stay flat down on it, that can work as well. You can technically use the cookie pans, but it's a little more frustrating because you gotta like do one side and then the other, and sometimes it doesn't come out as good as you want to. Now the directions on this thing says 5 seconds in warm water. I found that I've always had to take 15 to 20 seconds to get it exactly the way I want it to be. So, I'm going to put it in the water. I usually flip it back over, and that gives you an easier side to, I like to massage it nice and flat, make sure it doesn't crinkle on you, any air bubbles or anything. Get that out. I like to move it around, kind of like a Ouija board, whatever you want to call those things. Like I said, I do this. I do about maybe 15 to 20 seconds instead of 5. But once you start feeling it getting kind of, you can feel it starting to mold, soften up, kind of lose where it starts getting less sturdy. That's when you want to lift up the water. You want to let it drain. Make sure you pull it up like this with your fingertips so it doesn't lose shape while you're trying to drain it out. And that's when you pop it on to the cutting board. The cutting board, I like to use glass. I like to use glass. That seems to work the best. I like to put the paper just a little bit over the just over the cutting board, so you have room to kind of grab and lift if you need it. Now I take the raw stuff first, so I'll take these cucumbers. Now the rule of thumb in making these is not overstuffing these. So basically the more veggies you make, the more spring rolls you get, or you can use it for other stuff in the past. So the green onions you can kind of load up on if you want, because they're so soft and they're flexible. But and then I'm going to do the mixture here. Right, just like that. Remember, you don't want to overstuff it. In fact, that might be a little bit too big, but whatever. You get the idea. Put a little bit of cilantro on that. Give it a little extra leaf flavor. And then I like just a tad of, like a little line of sriracha. And then that ends the easy part. Now you kind of want to fold this like a burrito. Basically, it's just a lot flimsier than burrito. And you want to make sure it comes out like that. See? And there you have it. 2 beautiful spring rolls. I'll make the rest later, but like I said, they're easy, they're quick, and they're light, and people love them.